So you're thinking about getting a doctorate in business or information systems? That's a huge undertaking. Seriously, it's like deciding to climb a mountain. Well, today, think of us as your guide to the summit. We're going to break down everything from choosing your path to what the view looks like from the top.
All right, here's our roadmap for this climb. We're going to start with the biggest choice you have to make right at the beginning: PhD or DBA. Then we'll walk you through getting in, how you're going to pay for it, and what your career could look like once you finally reach that peak.
First things first, you've got a fundamental choice to make. Are you going to hike the trail to become a Doctor of Philosophy, a PhD, or are you heading for the Doctor of Business Administration, the DBA? Now, they might sound similar, but believe me, they lead to very, very different views from the top.
Okay, this slide really gets to the heart of it. A PhD is for the theorist, the academic. You're there to create totally new knowledge with the goal of becoming a research professor. A DBA, on the other hand, is for the practitioner. You're taking existing theories and applying them to solve huge, real-world business problems. Think top-tier consultant or CEO.
But you know, even with those big differences, both paths meet up at one central peak. At the end of the day, the goal of any doctorate is to prove you can conduct rigorous, original research. It doesn't matter if your data comes from a lab or a boardroom. You're going to be analyzing it, producing brand new findings, and making a real contribution to the field.
So you've picked your trail. What's next? Well, you've got to crack admissions. This is like gearing up for the climb. You need to have all the right equipment just to get a spot at the base of the mountain.
And here is the essential toolkit that admissions committees are looking for. Most of this is pretty standard stuff, but listen, two things here are absolutely critical. For top programs, you really want to be aiming for the 90th percentile or higher on your GMAT or GRE. And second, you need powerful letters of recommendation, ideally from professors who can really speak to your potential as a future researcher.
Now, of all the pieces in that toolkit, your statement of purpose, or SOP, is without a doubt the most important. This is your chance to tell the story of your academic journey and make a powerful case for why you belong in their specific program.
And this quote right here perfectly captures the mindset you need to have. This is not a personal essay about your life story. It is a focused, academic argument for why you are a great candidate to become a researcher. It has to be sharp, it has to be professional, and it has to be completely centered on your scholarly goals.
So a winning SOP tells a very specific story. You start with your why. What's the spark that got you interested in this field? Then you have to show you've done your homework. Explain exactly why this program is the perfect fit, and then name specific professors whose work lines up with your interests. And you wrap it up by giving them a glimpse of the research you want to do in the future.
Okay, you got accepted. Congratulations. But now the real climb begins. The next few years are a very structured ascent with some major milestones you absolutely have to hit. Let's take a look at what that path usually looks like.
This timeline basically maps out the key base camps on your way up. The first couple of years are all about taking in knowledge through intense coursework, but the huge turning point is passing your comprehensive exams. That's the moment you transition from being a student to a doctoral candidate, and from then on, the dissertation, your original piece of research, becomes your entire world.
But we need to be real about what this journey is like, especially that dissertation phase. As Professor David Maslach says here, it's a grind. Your motivation can't just be about getting a fancy title or a bigger salary. You have to be genuinely, deeply driven by the desire to do the research itself, because that's what's going to get you through years of really difficult and often very lonely work.
And you know, the difficulty of that grind, it's reflected in a pretty sobering number. Attrition rates for PhD programs can be as high as 50%. Think about that. Half the people who start this journey might not finish it. It just goes to show how much resilience you really need.
Okay, let's shift gears to some really good news. Funding is obviously a major worry for anyone thinking about grad school. But here's the thing. Unlike a lot of master's or other professional degrees, full-time PhD programs in business and IS are usually very, very well funded. Let's just put a number to it. At a top school like Carnegie Mellon, PhD students get an annual stipend of around $32,000. And to be clear, this is not a loan. This is money for you to live on while you do your studies and research.
And that stipend is just one part of a typical funding package. Your tuition, which could be tens of thousands a year, is completely waived. You get that annual stipend, your health insurance is usually covered too, and in return you'll work as a research or teaching assistant, which is an amazing experience for your future career. I mean, essentially, you are being paid to get your doctorate.
So after 4, 5, maybe 6 years of intense effort, you've made it to the summit. You did it. So what does the view actually look like from up there? Let's talk about the career paths and the payoffs that are waiting for you.
Well, your career track usually follows the degree you chose. PhDs are in super high demand to become tenure-track professors, and six-figure starting salaries are pretty common. DBAs, on the other hand, are primed for the C-suite, for top-level consulting gigs, or for strategic leadership roles inside major companies.
And if you specialize in information systems, or IS, you are right on the cutting edge of everything. Your research into something like AI isn't just for academic papers. It could land you an amazing role in the research division at Google or Microsoft, tackling the exact same problems just from inside the industry.
And yeah, let's talk about the money, because the financial payoff is significant. If you look at a role like an information systems manager, having a PhD can add over $30,000 to the median salary compared to someone with just a master's degree. It really proves the degree is more than just an academic credential. It's a direct investment in your future earnings.
Look, earning a doctorate is a formidable challenge. It's a true intellectual and personal marathon. It demands dedication, resilience, and a real passion for research. But for the right person, the rewards, intellectual, professional, and financial, are absolutely immense. We've laid out the map for you. The only question left is, are you ready for the climb?